Breaking right now, we are learning the Federal Bureau of Investigation executed search warrants into former Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell just over the weekend. Sources tell CBS News that his electronic devices were seized during that search. And you may remember Swalwell is under a criminal probe after allegations of sexual misconduct. I want to bring in CBS News justice reporter Jake Rosen for much more about this. So, Jake, what else are we learning about this search?
Well, what we do know is that Eric Swalwell, upon arriving at San Francisco's airport, had his electronic devices seized by federal law enforcement. He was not arrested or detained. We're out to his legal team to find out specifically what in that search warrant and another one that was executed at his D.C. residence on Sunday we're searching to find out. We do know that local authorities in California and New York were already investigating the claims of sexual harassment and misconduct that numerous women have spoken up about, resulting in his resignation from Congress and resignation from the governor's race out in California, where he was a candidate. And at the same time, we're trying to find out what specific federal nexus could be at play here. Obviously, a lot of these charges potentially could be local, but the federal government getting involved, makes sense strictly just because he's a sitting congressman and may have misused his power to potentially coerce these women into potentially sexual acts or sexual activity. But at the same time, we know he's been one of the most high-profile targets of this Trump administration, going back to the first Trump administration. And it's certainly possible that this is just simply a federal move to put the pressure campaign on Swalwell. We're waiting to find out more specifically what they're investigating him for in relation to this sexual misconduct. And certainly, given the whole scheme of things here, it certainly amplifies the legal pressure on him as he faces already an investigation in Manhattan and out in California.
And Jake, I think it's also important to note that this is the second time this week that Swalwell's name has hit headlines. What can you tell us about declassified documents released by the White House on Monday?
Well, again, it's part of this kind of political world that we live in with this White House putting out some retroactive documents. There was nothing necessarily new in them, but from a position of power in the White House, the President Trump's administration reminding our public and the audience that Eric Swalwell allegedly had a relationship with a Chinese national or Chinese individual who the Trump administration has accused of being a spy. We should point out that Eric Swalwell was never charged in that investigation or probe either, and neither was the woman who's allegedly at the center of that. But it reminds our audience and us as reporters of the political context of which this decision over the weekend to go after his electronic devices kind of lives within. It's obviously separate from any allegations of being associated with any kind of Chinese spy, but at the same time, he has been very high up on the Trump administration and DOJ's list of people who have been very outspoken, who President Trump has wanted to see legal action taken against, and will certainly keep tabs on any further developments in this case. It would be unusual, and Mugo, just for our audience to kind of understand this too, for the federal government to get involved in this specifically, and finding a federal nexus will be a difficult thing for the FBI and DOJ to do. That's likely why they could have moved to seize these devices, and we're waiting for further comment from the former congressman and his legal team.
Okay, Jake Rosen, thank you so much.